Hey, it's Wednesday night, and I'm doing a contest response to POPcrackledotcom's 100 subs contest. Congratulations on your 100 subs. Last I checked, you're getting really close. And like you, I've been really excited about trying to get close to 100. I'm well away from that, but it's exciting. Sometimes you just want to go ahead and do the contest. But this is a really awesome contest idea, because it sort of brings together my two favorite things, which are books and music. So I was really excited to see this contest and get a chance to participate in it, and the prize is really awesome too. When I started my channel, I told everyone that I really love books and love music, and this contest sort of gets to bring them together, so it was really cool. So the contest was to show our favorite music books, or just to show all of our music books. And instead of just going through and showing you everything I have in my collection, I thought it would be a good idea just to show 5 books about music that I can recommend, and maybe someone will read them. I feel like if you show everything, it might just be too much information. So these 5 books I can definitely recommend, and so we'll just get to it. The first book is Last Night a DJ Saved My Life, The History of the Disc Jockey. This is by Bill Brewster and Frank Broughton. I first heard about this book from James Murphy from LCD Sound System. Was talking about this book in an interview and said that I believe it came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, or he read this book in the late 90s, and it sort of inspired him to start DJing. Apparently he was sort of playing a more traditional band, and after he read this book, it sort of inspired him to start DJing. And it wasn't really at all like I thought it would be. I thought it would be more about the techno or house scene, but it's actually a history of DJing, and specifically what the parts that were really cool were the parts on Northern Soul, the movement in England, of soul music, and places like the Wigan Pier, if you know what that is. It's a really in-depth history of Northern Soul, and there is the history of house and music like this, but this is just great, and it's sort of like I don't know, it was just a really fast read. I know if a book's good if I can read it in like 2 days, and I read this in 2 days. It's just as much about soul music and stuff like that as opposed to techno or house, so highly recommend this book. I got this for like $2, so you can find a good used copy pretty much everywhere. So first one, Last Night a DJ Saved My Life. Second book, this is a book about the history of post-punk. It's called Our Band Could Be Your Life. That's a line from the Minutemen. This is a really great book. I mean, all these are, but this is sort of a compilation about the movement from, actually it says on here, scenes from the American Indie Underground from 1981 to 1991. This has Mission of Burma, the Minutemen, Black Flag, Who's Purdue, Minor Threat, Replacements, Dinosaur Jr., Beat Happening, Mudhoney, Fugazi, Big Black, Sonic Youth, and the Butthole Surfers. And the way this book is formatted is each band has like a chapter, and it's sort of that band's history from that time frame. It was a really fast read. If you're into post-punk, if you're into American post-punk from 91 bands like Fugazi or Black Flag or the Minutemen, I mean, this would be definitely a book you'd want to check out. The chapter on the Minutemen was especially good, but very well written. There's so many books out about punk. This is kind of fills in. There's not too many books about that sort of chronicles this movement from this period of 10 years. So it's a really good book to fill in, that gap in your collection if you're reading about the history of music. Highly recommend it. Again, read it in like maybe 3 days. It's just one you can't really put down. A lot of great stories in here, and also just it really highlights how these were just ordinary guys. I mean, I think it's what punk rock was about, but with punk rock there was always this dangerous edge, and these guys were really just, both these bands were just super nerdy, so it was just, you really get that vibe from it. So second book, you can speed it up here a little bit. Bob Dylan's Chronicles, third pick. I'm sure this will be shown a lot in this contest. I think this is probably the best thing Bob Dylan's done probably in 20 years. This was just such a well-written, beautiful, poetic book, and I love how random it is. That I read this when it first came out. I was actually working in a bookstore when it came out. I remember it was in the fall time, and I was actually reading it while I was working on the job. I would like hide somewhere and read some chapters of it. I was so excited to read it, and I love how random it is. But you know, he does talk a little bit about the early '60s in the Greenwich Village. But you would sort of expect him to talk about his most successful period, but he sort of jumps to New Orleans in the '80s with the Oh Mercy album, which is, it kind of jumps all over the place, and he spends a lot of time in that '80s phase, which you really wouldn't expect. But it's really random, and it's just so well written. I'm really excited about the second one. I know he's been writing it for a long time. I've not read it in, probably, when did this come out? Maybe 2004. Yes, I've not read this in 9 years, but it's stuck with me. I just know it's a good one. Very well written. Two more. This is a book about country music. This is called The Nashville Sounds, Bright Lights in Country Music. Probably won't see this anywhere in the contest. This is a book by Paul Hemphill. This book came out, there's Paul there. This book came out, I think, let me see, 1970. And it's just sort of like Paul Hemphill was a journalist, and he sort of just went out to Nashville and talked to a lot of country music stars and sort of tried to write a book about the scene of country music in the 1960s and 70s. There's people like Chet Atkins, Glenn Campbell, Tex Ritter. This book's just a great sauce of Americana. It's really well written and sort of gives you a feel of what the 70s in Nashville were like. I'm from Tennessee. I used to live in Nashville, so this is maybe this is just sort of a nostalgic pick for me. But if you do like that classic Americana, country music stuff, this is really great and very well written. So check this out. I picked this up for I think $3. Didn't know anything about it and was really pleasantly surprised. And the last book. This is a book that came out this year. Questlove, Momenta Blues. Questlove, of course, the drummer for the legendary Roots band. This is really great. I typically don't, go for, well, I do. I shouldn't say I don't, but I don't always go for sort of these one member of a band bios. Sometimes they're really bad, but this is very well written. It's funny. It's really cool that he throughout the book he gives sort of like, for each year there's a lot of sort of like the record that he listened to. And Questlove is not only such an amazing musician, but has just a deep knowledge of music. And I'm a really big fan of soul music, and so this, as a soul lover, Questlove, it was just cool to read about his musical genesis and the stuff he liked. And it's just really well written, and there's been a lot of publicity about it, but there's a lot of funny stories about Prince. I'm a big Prince fan, so it's just really funny, fresh, easy read. I think it's like 200 or 300 pages. I got this knocked out in like 2 days. It was just really fun read, and especially if you love the Roots like me. So anyway, just 5 recommendations: Momenta Blues, The Nashville Sounds, Bob Dylan Chronicles, Our Band Could Be Your Life, and last night the DJ Saved My Life. So we got house music, techno, post-punk, folk, country, and neo-soul / hip-hop. So I think I've covered all the bases there. Again, congratulations to POPcrackledotcom. Keep up the great work, and thanks for doing this contest. I really enjoyed it.